that's always our litmus test. Is this interesting to us? Would this surprise us? Would we think this is lame? Would we think that this is, straining credulity? And you start from there, and then you refine and finesse. And we have so many great people involved, behind the camera and in front of the camera that it all works out.
I love your little. Thanks so much more fans. You're always casting characters and actors that are really recognizable from the genres, and that just really appeals. Plus, your pacing is so accelerated that it just takes your breath away a little bit. You're like, whoa, that just happened, and that happened too.
That was something. Thank you very much for noticing that, because that was something that was a huge part of our original conception of the show and thinking about the show. Greg, Andrew, and I, we all worked on Eli together, Eli Stone, and the thing we learned when doing Eli was, because the show was always this close to getting canceled, we were like, well, we better do this story now. We better do this story now because we may not get the chance. And we realized, there's something to be said for just burning through story with reckless abandon. And I knew that we were on the right track with, in episode 2, we were getting notes from the network, wow, you're doing this already? You're already revealing that the boat was sabotaged? What? It's only episode 2. And we're like, yes, exactly. We're going to burn through story. And it was always part of the design of the show. And I'm glad it's playing for people, because for us, it's one of the fun things. We just love, doing it with reckless abandon.
You also you bring up something, I don't mean to cut you off, but you bring up when you do burn through the story, you then have to have a lot of story.
Yes, you do.
So the question is, how far, obviously the show's a hit, everyone seems to be really enjoying it, how far are you guys now thinking, shit, we could be on for a while, we really need to arc out something, or we need to know where we're going for 3 and 4 seasons in?
Well, I will say, just the nature of us and, just fantasizing about the show, even before we premiered, we were like, it would be really fun if in season 4 we do this, and then in season 5 we do that. We always, I wouldn't say we had a 5-year plan in terms of every single episode, but in terms of big sort of tentpole kind of cool moments, we were just daydreaming about all that stuff. And I think one of the most dangerous things that we could possibly do in season 2 and beyond is if people are responding to the show burning through story, suddenly hitting the brakes and slowing down. I'm always I would really love to have the problem of going what are we going to do? What's going to happen next? I really don't think we have. We have a phenomenally talented group of writers on our staff. It's our job to come up with story. We'll always figure stuff out, and we always have in our back pocket those sort of tentpole moments for how to end season 4, how to end season 5 that we were talking about back when we were doing the pilot. So I'm actually not worried about that. There's a lot of stuff that keeps me awake at night about the show. Running out of story is not one of them.
So going a little bit smaller, what can you tease about Wednesday's episode of The Return of the Count?
Yes, well, I tell you, first of all, so great to have Seth Gable back. We adore him, we love him. He just signed on to do a pilot, Gothica, and he actually asked as part of his deal to have outs to do Arrow and return on the show, which I'm really glad he did that, because my wife is executive producing that pilot, and Lord knows I don't want to be beholden to her. So I'm glad that, honey, I don't know what to tell you, contractually Seth is able to come back. And we actually have already talked about a bunch of different ways to bring the Count back in season 2. But this episode that airs on Wednesday, it's probably the most unconventional way of bringing a character back you've ever seen. Where, at the end of episode 12, the Count OD'd on his own drug, on Vertigo, and we really, I think, sort of honor the reality of what happened to him. The other thing that's, I think, pretty cool about it is Oliver is forced to make a decision about the Count that really, I think, shows his evolution and his growth as a character in that episode, because the Count sort of presents himself in a very unique way, and Oliver has to, decide not to act the way he normally would act. He has to handle the situation in a different way than, the audience has come to expect and that he himself has come to expect.
Oliver's revealed himself to so many people so far this season. Are there plans for other people to find out his identity, or have we reached the
I definitely feel like we've reached a saturation point in the sense that, he's revealed himself to Tommy, to Walter, and to Felicity. No, I'm sorry, God, Tommy, Diggle, and Felicity. I think, when he revealed himself to Tommy, we certainly, we read the internet, we read everyone's response. We're like, oh, people are going like, oh, that's a little bit too many. So we're being very protective about Oliver's, identity, and I don't want to sort of spoil in terms of what's going to happen, or everyone's always asking, is that number going up, and I'll just say that in terms of the way he reveals himself in the future will be different than the way he has revealed himself in the past. I will also say that as we start to see in episode 17 and 18, and it really plays into episodes 19 and 20, revealing his identity to Tommy is going to play out very differently from how the reveals to Felicity and to Diggle have worked out. With Felicity and Diggle, they were very much like, okay, we're on board, we approve of your crusade. Revealing his identity to Tommy is going to have very unintended consequences for Oliver that will take us all the way through to the finale. Episode 19, Wednesday's episode, ends with sort of, I think, a big indication about where we're headed, with Tommy knowing.
Can you say who the Gravedigger is? I was told that might be an upcoming character on the show.
Gosh, not in season 1.
Okay.
Not in season 1. We talk a lot about a bunch of different characters, both sort of heroes and villains. And DC's been wonderful about giving us access to their toy box. But no plans for the Gravedigger in season 1.
Wednesday's episode, obviously, we're going to start to see Oliver start to train bow and arrow on the island.
Yes.
How is that going to inform? Obviously, seeing him become the man we know him to be,
yes,
versus when we then flash back later and see who he was before. Are we really starting to see you may not like one of these guys?
Well, for sure, just as we're ramping up to a season finale in the present day story, we're doing the same on the island. So the island gets sort of its own season finale, and we're driving towards that. So the connections between the present and the past really become more thematic as we ramp up stories for both present and past. The moment that ends the last flashback in season 1 was a moment that we pitched to the network way back at the beginning of the show. In fact, someone at the network asked me last week, like, so you guys had pitched this moment and we really, really love it. Are you guys still doing that? We're like, yes, we're still doing it. The plan it's all going exactly like the way we originally planned it. And certainly the introduction of Selena Jade as Shadow plays a big role in that. And we're just, you'll understand the missile launcher, you'll understand Fire's plan, Yao Fei, what's going on with him, all that stuff gets revealed.
So then when we flash further back to see him before he was on the island, where does that fit in?
I didn't say we were going to do that yet.
Well, we've seen photos of him.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I would,
you know what?
Here's what I would do. I would, I've been sworn to secrecy until the panel, I'm sorry.
Until the panel.
But, by the way, I think all you've seen, the only photos you've seen are just him with, yes, are him as yes. Those,
he was not on the island in that photo.
No, but those could be present day.
Oh, God.
Now, fans
driving the show into the ground. That's what we're doing.
Fans have really connected with Felicity. They love her. They love the chemistry with her and Oliver. What can we expect from them? Because they bicker like an old married couple, but they've got the fire of like a young couple.
We love them. I mean, and Felicity, honest to God, we're so gratified that everyone loves Felicity and that people are starting to ship Oliver and Felicity in light of episode 18. Very happy about that. We're going to continue to sort of see an evolution of their, of their relationship and their partnership, really. I mean, because it starts to, become a little bit more involved and complex. As far as their relationship, that's going to remain, I would say, on a slow burn, because the truth is the end of season 1 is really, for us, relationship-wise, returning to the Oliver, Tommy, Laurel love triangle that started in the pilot, or it's really how the pilot ended, and it's really bringing the season full circle. So poor Felicity's going to have to wait a little bit. That said, we have some really great moments coming up between Oliver and Felicity that really change the way Felicity interacts, with the Arrow, sort of let me put it this way: we get her out of the lair.
Okay, I was gonna say, because she really seems to keep Oliver's humanity intact.
Yes, no,
she does. Are we gonna see her kind of ever get that wall up, or do you like the fact that she is so emotionally vulnerable?
Oh, no, we love.
Answer this. This is the last
Sorry.
one
Okay.
because he's got to.
Got it.
We love that she's so emotionally vulnerable. We don't want to change her. Like, you know, we really right now are having a lot of fun with the change that she has on Oliver and the effect that she has on Oliver. And then, you know, down the road, I mean, now that, you know, Emily is a series regular, like, we know that, okay, we've got her locked in for a while, which is wonderful. And we'll just play with her and her evolution. You know, we have so much sort of road to travel with her, and that's what's so much fun about her. And we'll see what happens. You know, there were some people who in episode 16 were shipping Diggle and Felicity.
No.
I know. I'm just saying. I was like, people sort of saw some stuff there.